So we're speaking with local activist organizer Kai here today, so thanks for talking with us.
Of course.
So you were involved with the march that happened last month in support demanding justice for Patrick Loyola. So just maybe if we could just start off by just saying, why are you and the folks you're organizing with still committed to trying to get justice for Patrick and his family?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Comrades Collective is definitely still all about justice for Patrick. It's been over 2 years at this point, with no accountability from anyone, from the state, from the officer. And that's just unacceptable. It's running rampant in this country, and we're watching it happen over and over and over again. And, you know, if we don't keep it going, if we don't keep it loud, then people are going to forget, and they're going to keep allowing it to happen. And we can't allow that.
Sure. And so the march, started on the west side of the river, and we came across the not the Blue Bridge, but the 6th Street Bridge, and walked down Monroe, whatnot, and the cops not surprisingly stopped us, and so on and so forth. But as somebody who was also present for that, doing crowd safety, it was clear that what we were doing was completely nonviolent.
Yeah.
And it was great having Patrick's family
Yes.
there with us, right?
Yeah.
But shortly after the protests happened, you got a phone call from
I did.
the GRPD, so can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So about 10 days or so after, on the 16th, I was working and got a call from a detective that works with the Grand Rapids Police Department to inform me that I had a felony warrant. Initially, he wasn't wanting to tell me what it was even about. He just kind of wanted to get off the phone, said, I just wanted to give you this courtesy that you have this felony warrant. Please turn yourself in within 48 hours or we're going to come get you. But me being me, I pressed him, and I, demanded an explanation as to why randomly I just have this warrant, pulled out of thin air. He proceeded to say that I assaulted an officer causing injury with my bullhorn. So I asked him to elaborate. He said that an officer's eardrum was blew out from the excessive noise from my bullhorn. So he said I needed to turn myself in, which I did. I turned myself in, and then surprisingly got out the same day. But surprisingly, about 3 days later, so probably 3 or 4 days later, so about 2 weeks after the event, I got a letter in the mail to inform me that I then had a misdemeanor pulled against me as well for disturbing the peace. So they have 2 separate charges that are not running together, but that are from the same event.
Okay. So, obviously, you weren't the only person who received a call afterwards. One of the other comrades did. And then recently, there were other folks, activists in town, who were arrested for also engaged in nonviolent activities and so forth. So, what do you think is the motivation? Why now? Why do crack down on folks now, even though, it's been more than 2 years since Patrick's murder, and we certainly have done lots of actions, lots of stuff in the street.
Yeah.
And not that there hasn't been any pushback, but this seems to be taking it a bit extreme.
Yeah, it's ramping up for sure. I think that they saw the effects of the initial arrest that they made back when we were really, so like 2 years ago, on May 10th, there was also a protest that caused for about 10 activists to get arrested. Again, that was initiated 2 weeks after the event. I think that they saw that it may have impacted the movement a little bit, with them taking out so many of the people who were organizing and really at the forefront of the movement. So I think they're running with that, and they've seen a tactic that works. So they're going to probably continue to do that. And I'm seeing it now working with other groups. They just are now pulling up on people and giving weird random demands and then just arresting you. So I think that this is their way to weaponize themselves against the movement and keep us quiet, because our voices are more powerful than their guns, right? If we can have the masses hear us and feel it and come to the street with us, that's way more powerful than their team of 50 officers that can come out and, brutalize and then look like the bad guys. Because they used to brutalize, right? They used to just come in and take you down and tackle you and take your bullhorns and do all that, but that started to make them look bad. So they found a way to cause a disruption without making themselves look like the fools. So.
Well, it's not lost on, I think, many of us in seeing what's been happening in over the last few years, is that primarily, not exclusively, but primarily the targets are BIPOC folks, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts about that in terms of them targeting particularly individuals of color who are organizers or activists?
I mean, I think that's just a statement to this country and what they focus on. Because if you go and you take down a white woman that's peacefully protesting, which they do often, but you get more of a stir, right? The masses want to protect the white woman or the white person. So if you go after the BIPOC, it's easier to say, well, she was loud and angry and violent because her voice was loud, or he was intimidating me, because there's already that stereotype for people of color being violent, being aggressive, and that can play heavily into media. So when you are taking them down, it's just reinforcing the message of they're violent, they're not peaceful, it's a problem. See, and it's wild because usually BIPOC are outnumbered by the white allies that are out there in the streets with us, but still somehow we tend to be the targets, and it's shocking, but it's not shocking,
Yeah. So really, grateful that you're willing to talk to us about this today. I'm just sort of wondering, what message you might have to people who might view this about why it's so important that people understand that movement folks are being targeted, and that particularly, they're targeting BIPOC folks. I mean, why is that? Why do you think it's important for people to understand that this is happening?
Yeah, I think it's important because the sheer fact that it's happening tells you that it's powerful, right? They're stopping it for a reason. They don't want it to happen for a reason. And time and history has shown us that uprisings happen when the masses come together and can have a commonality and fight together. So if they see, what was it? George Floyd had downtown packed, Patrick, in the initial beginning, we had hundreds of people out for weeks on end, and people were holding down corners for years, and Veterans Parks for, a solid year, and they see that community and it's scary. So I think it's really important for people to understand that they see that this is a potential for change and it's gonna disrupt their status quo, and they don't want it. So the more people that we can have out there, the better protection we all have, because they're not gonna come out and harass us when we're 300 deep in the streets demanding justice because they know they're in the wrong. It's just really, really important to see the pattern of history and to see that we have power, and they know we have power, and that's why they're trying so hard to stop it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Certainly, we'll include a link to the GoFundMe page when we post this. But I'm just wondering if there's anything else that you wanted to say, any other thoughts or comments you want to make regarding what happened to you, and just the importance of people to continue to fight for justice for Patrick.
Yeah, the GoFundMe is great. Legal fees are astronomical. This is my second time fighting the system. The first time it was, like a 1.5 year battle back and forth with them. And I want everybody to understand that GRPD is being very orchestrated. My situation, for instance, it's the same exact officer that claimed assault the first time. Initially, the first time, which that case is complete, but they said that I assaulted an officer, and the cause being that I caused him to trip or stumble, because he did not fall. He stumbled over another officer's foot. And that was that was my assault to him. And they were trying to hand down 8 years for that. And now this time again, it's the same exact officer claiming assault. Never was I within more than 3 feet of him because he was in the road. I was usually on the side of the bike lane side. So they're being very calculated. They're being very intentional. They have the officers who clearly have a vendetta and want revenge, I guess, maybe. But I just hope that people see that they're being, I don't know, I don't even know the word for it, because it's orchestrated, it's calculated, it's intentional, I guess is all I can say. But we really need people out here, and I know that it's scary, and I know it's like, yeah, but you're facing charges, and it's like, yeah, I know, but we're 20 deep out there, we're 30 deep, and it's way easier for them to corral us and pull up with 6, 7 officers and intimidate us, and they put their hands on us and then call us the aggressors. So the more people we have to show up, the more people we have passionate about it, the better this movement will be, and the more likely we'll see Christopher Scher seek, or not seek, but Christopher Scher get, we get accountability from him in the city, because this is just not, this is unacceptable. I've been in court more than Christopher Scher. He's been given all of these stays and bringing these to the Supreme Court and to the federal court, and it's like people are in jail waiting for that, and he's just being given it. And it's unacceptable that we allow officers to just have this immunity and this little blue line gang that just stands so tough behind them, and it's just, I can't do that. So we got to be out here.
Well, I certainly am grateful for your courage and your commitment to this issue and the struggle, and thanks again for talking with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.